What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for August 18th. We are going to hop right on in. Let us away. Spirit, what messages do you have? Whoa, that was quick. That was like flying right out there. You are magic. I happen to wholeheartedly agree. Okay, so let's pull another one for the end of the reading. You want which one? Okay, keep shuffling. Okay. Okay, there we go. With love. Alrighty. Dearest you, there are times when loss is a part of life. Sometimes a loss is welcome, like when you leave a situation not in alignment with your highest good. Sometimes a loss is sudden and painful, like when a loved one crosses over to our dimension. Regardless of the nature of the loss and your control over it, your experience is asking to be acknowledged. Tears are necessary, as is grief. When you repress the natural expression of loss and try to move on too quickly, the unprocessed pain haunts you in destructive ways. We don't want that for you. Instead, let your heart break open wide. Feel the loss and integrate it. See the beauty that was, the lessons learned, and know that as you let go of what has passed, ever more of you remains. It gets better, we promise. Your heart expands with more compassion for the world than ever before. Love heals all. We are loving you, sending you love, always and forever. Wow, that's really beautiful, friends. Yeah. Some things are harder to let go of than others, and it's okay. And it's quite all right to take your time with that. Don't feel rushed through it, because really the only way is through it. And sometimes we hang on to weird things, right? We hang on to weird things, so we're like looking for the one thing. We're looking for the way we expect traumas that get stuck in our energy to show up. But then it doesn't show up like that. So we wonder, right? We look at it and go, wow, we doubt it, but then we know that it's showing up that way. For example, I talked about processing grief and all of that. So it's like when you're in that process, it's like letting things speak to you internally, right? But also getting help if you need it. So don't deny yourself that help either, because it's very important. It's very important. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please, for August 18th? High Priestess. Wow. Yeah, this is a kind of going within. Whoa, what is happening? That's intense. I feel like the call to adventure is someone who knows what they want. Or it's like you know what you want, and that's kind of the call to adventure. Because your intuition's like, aha, I got it. And it's like, ding, ding, ding. Like it's almost like that kind of like moment of internal recognition. But it's also manifesting from a place of love, manifesting with that energy, right? Manifesting with an open heart. And I think this is kind of a message that it's kind of how your energy is, it can serve you, right? It can serve you, it can work against you too, but I think that it serves you when you come at things with from a place of an open heart. Yeah, there's the call to adventure's balance. Look at what's on the split again. 2 of Cups and the Hierophant. Some Taurian energy there. I feel like, well, there's Sagittarian energy here too, as well as Mercury, so Gemini possibly. I mean, this is more Gemini's iteration, but Mercury can also represent Virgo. It's almost like rebalancing that comes after. It's like the call to adventure is this rebalancing of the energy of the heart center. We have Judgment, the King of Swords, and the 8 of Cups. Yeah, I think it's like the decision so the thing that could become a Tower if it goes unchecked is this Judgment card, right? It's kind of like, what decisions have you made up to this point? And evaluating, not just the decisions, and evaluating might not be the right energy, because I see the King of Swords in the protagonist position, right? So it's almost like this energy is, it's a more decisive energy, And it's like the practical application of a decision that is born of a depth of transformation, right? A depth of transformation. What is it that you did with what you had in terms of, like, you know, bigger life stuff, right? Because we all get dealt different hands, and it's up to us what we do with it. Sometimes we don't know until after the fact, but even then we can navigate that with probably more skill than we might think, right? We can navigate that well. We don't have to navigate it perfectly, but it's like, it's kind of being a little bit easier on yourself. And the antagonist position is this Eight of Cups, which I feel like is kind of like giving up on yourself, giving up on something too soon. But I think too that the Eight of Cups represents walking away from things that aren't fulfilling. And again, we have transformation and balance, right? The Judgment card is transformation. The Temperance card is balance. So I'm kind of feeling a little bit here. The world is the challenge. It's sort of like this, it's almost like, it's not about letting go. It's like a hesitation to let yourself breathe. That's interesting. A hesitation to let yourself breathe. How is that showing up here, Spirit? Eight of Pentacles. Two of Cups again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm putting these together here. That is really wanting to come out. I think it's this sense of fulfillment. I think it's a sense of fulfillment. And I think the World card here is coming out because it's the challenge in that you have to step into the new. You have to step into what's arriving, what's here. And I think that that's the challenge, because I don't want to say you can't see it, but the Eight of Pentacles to me represents being, your energy is kind of invested in something. And I don't want to say to a detriment, because I don't believe that that's the energy that I'm reading here. I think that there's a way that the overcoming is in this, is in doing the work. And doing the work can mean anything, right? It can mean shadow work. It can mean journaling. It can mean, feeling things. It can mean crying. It can mean self-care. It can mean appreciation. It can mean deepening your relationships in terms of communication. You can do all these things. And I feel like the reason why this path is opening up, creatively speaking, what this looks like to me, like if this is coming from a more creative space, I feel, sorry, I had to move the microphone. I don't know if it popped on your end, but from a more creative space, I think this is coming more into alignment with work that suits you. There's something new here. And it's like, I almost get that this is like someone who speaks your language. It could be a love language. It could also just be that someone who gets you, and work that allows you, that makes you feel like you're coming back home to it, to yourself in it. Like there's like a coming back home energy. We're ending on the Seven of Swords, but there's a way that you feel. It's almost like the Seven of Swords is like behaviors that we engage in when we feel like we don't deserve something, right? That's the way it's coming across here. The Four of Cups, yeah. Knight of Swords. I'm going to keep clarifying because we've got the time, but I'm also just really curious about this Seven of Swords and the Four of Cups. Like, it's almost like disenchantment. Like you can be disenchanted, and Spirit, can you clarify this? Whoa. Yeah, the Four of Swords. So I think it is kind of giving yourself a bit of a break and taking it easy on yourself today, my friends. Taking it easy on yourself. There's a lot of energy here that's moving. And it's moving because you're coming into balance. You're coming into balance more. And it could also be that the challenge is believing that the work that you've done is going to pay off in terms of something tangible in the real world, right? Like feeling like it's not, like, how could that possibly be? Like it's like it's felt like it's outside of you, but I feel like you're magnetizing opportunities towards you. And I think what this is doing is it's clearing out a lot of beliefs that you held And that's the kind of the clearing out, right? It's just like getting a bit of a rest after the release, right? But I feel like these are beliefs that you might have held. Like, do you really deserve, like, how, like, what's the caveat, right? What's the caveat? Caveat emptor. What's the caveat here, right? Catch 22. What is it, right? Think, like, when you give, okay, you do it for different reasons, but it's like you can believe that there needs to be not something coming to you, but like, okay, like, it's not gonna, I have to give without hope of good or things like that. Like, what are your beliefs about that, right? Because that's a way that you take from yourself. And then the Four of Cups is a belief that, like, it's almost it's disbelief, like it's boredom, it's stuck, right? It's feeling stuck because there's an Ace of Cups right there. There's, like, there's an Ace of Cups here too, but it's like right there. So these represent beliefs, I think, that upon realizing and overcoming this kind of little bit of a challenge or reminder, at least on your journey, you're coming into a much better place. I feel like you're more poised, not necessarily to take advantage of where you are, but to hear what Spirit is saying to you through where you are, right? And this Nine of Cups and Two of Cups to me represents a kind of potential soulmate. It can also be a job that, helps. It could be a job that brings you a soulmate or things like that. But what I'm seeing more here is like, it's like coming back home to yourself, or feeling like yourself. If not feeling like yourself, like you're always yourself. How do I word this, energy, Spirit? It's like flow. It's like flow in the heart space, right? It's like excitement. It is realizing the importance of something to you, or a place or a person. And you can know that something is important, but it's like the why becomes apparent over time. And as the why becomes more apparent, and as you become more aware of the why, I feel like the rest of the story starts to tell itself. And I think that you're clearing the beliefs that kind of stood in the way of this meeting you through this sort of spiritual journey and path that you're on. What additional messages do you have for me, Spirit, to clarify this daily creative spread? What additional messages? Can you be more specific? I'm just hearing that something about, like, the signs. So possibly an earth sign, the Hermit and the King of Pentacles. But beyond a sign, it's like looking for signs, but the signs are also kind of within you. Like, there's some way that the wisdom within you is resonating in the external world, and that's guiding you to where you need to be. But I think it's also that the signs are maybe providing nourishment on the journey. Knight of Wands came out on the High Priestess, the World, and the Eight of Pentacles. So I think that there's a bit of a way here how the Magician came out to clarify the Magician. I think that this Knight of Wands is, it's an energy of, I think, integration and movement. Like, it's like now, again, I think this came up yesterday too, or the day before, I think, where it's like you recognize and then you can do. Like, there's an awareness of what to do next, because these beliefs get cleared, right? These beliefs get cleared. And cleared just meaning transmuted. They get shifted, changed, because you bring them outside of yourself. And it's not just about talking to someone. It's not just about, therapy or counseling or things like that, but it's like looking outside of yourself and saying, okay, how do I work with this? What do I do here? And it's like you recognize something in that process. And I feel like the effort, it almost becomes like, it's so fast moving that in a way I feel like it becomes a little bit on the effortless side. The Magician's here to clarify as well. So the Magician is clarifying the Magician, the Ace of Cups, and Judgment. So it tells me that you magnetized a sort of decision point or turning point related to your heart center. The Four of Cups came out again. This is so interesting. It's like balancing your perspective, the Temperance card and the King of Swords, and then the Four of Swords clarifying. Balancing your perspective is what's going to potentially help you clear. I think the belief or the doubt, like this is a little bit of doubt, right? Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So it's like if you're working on something, or you're, in a relationship or looking for one, like, and even with other things, it's like you are, whoa, these all wanted to come out. These kind of came flying out, which is the Five of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, Six of Wands, Five of Wands. A lot of inner conflict. I'm just getting like a lot of inner conflict. Yeah, the Devil, the Ace of Swords. You're realizing truths though. So Five of Wands, Six of Wands, Eight of Wands, movement, conflict, some success. It's like there's some success over this, but there's like this old story that you told yourself that you took for the truth, right? About this sort of being left out. And I think that that's what's really, again, like these beliefs being cleared are really loud, which is like, apropos of the season, but also the full moon in Aquarius too. So this Four of Cups, Temperance, King of Swords, Four of Cups. I'm hearing punctuation. Like it's not punctuating. It's like you're deciding what to put on the end of a sentence. This is so interesting. You're deciding what to put on the end of a sentence. A period, a semicolon, a colon, a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation point. Like it's like you're deciding how to end that sentence to start the new one. And it's not like new as in like this big ass thing. I think it's related to balancing your perspective and seeing how this Four of Cups might have been where you are. And that might have been the loudest belief that you held, or the loudest thing was the disbelief. And it really reflected a sense of boredom and maybe a little bit of doubt too, right? A little bit of doubt, some disenchantment with where you are. But again, it's reflective of being stuck. And when energy is stuck, well, it's not stuck so much now, I don't get. But I think this is, the Eight of Cups is about moving towards as much as it is about moving away. It's been a bit of a process for you, I think. It's been a bit of a process. We have the King of Wands and the Knight of Swords, right? This is, again, decisive action. We have some fast-moving knights here. The Knight of Wands came through here, but I think that this is where your passion is freed up, right? The Knight of Swords was placed within these beliefs and this stuck energy here. So I feel like it's moving into a new phase, especially with the Death card on the bottom, right? That's like an ending, but also a beginning. Four of Wands, Two of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like allowing yourself this, it's almost like allowing yourself, granting yourself a little more freedom, I think. A little more freedom, I don't know why. And not freedom in terms of like independence. I'm talking about freedom to dream. Freedom to believe that it could be amazing, right? And I think that that's where it's like your passion becomes accessible and there's decisive action that you can take. That's how it kind of gets unlocked here. Let me pull a Miracles Now card or two. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives, please? Whoa. Okay, so there's a lot. The decks are a little charged. Let's see what these two are. When in doubt, I choose to see peace. Sometimes it takes effort, but I feel like that's a little bit of the story here. Yeah. It's what's coming through is that sometimes we sort of look to situations or external circumstances to help us fit or fill that sort of sense of fulfillment, right? Like we look to externals, but it's almost like it's like an internal process for you, and a realization of how you've invested your energy, where you've invested your energy. And I think it comes down to understanding how your beliefs may have gotten kind of caught up along the way and pushed you to look outside of yourself when really it's all within you. It's all within you. It has been the whole time. In order to awaken the world to the light, I must not be afraid to shine. And there's no Leo energy here, but I do get that a lot. Like, because I feel like that's part of the Nine of Cups, right? The Nine of Cups it's a wish fulfillment, but this is emotional fulfillment too, right? This is you being your own best thing. And then you can meet people on the path in that. right? King of Pentacles and Hermit. You can meet people on the path in that. Yeah. And sometimes that's the shining, right? Sometimes that's where you shine. And it's sort of unexpected. It's unexpected because it's an inward process. But that's how we shine when we don't even realize it. We don't even realize that we're shining, but that's where we can and do. So let me read this card here. Okay, so it says, with love. Dearest you, a rigid tree branch breaks under strong winds, yet flexible seaweed survives powerful ocean swells. Right now, we gently remind you that being flexible is a good choice when faced with life's challenges. Surrender your fixed ideas to Spirit, who knows what's in your highest good and can deliver to you what you need in the appropriate form. In this moment, rather than fighting or being too sure of your way working out, okay, I'm just going to hold these up because, wowza, this is kind of capturing this energy here. Okay. Surrender your fixed ideas to Spirit, who knows what's in your highest good and can deliver to you what you need in the appropriate form. In this moment, rather than fighting or being too sure of your way working out, be a little looser and allow for another outcome. Compromise can be the best way forward if you are to learn new ways of doing and seeing. Stay aware, curious, and teachable. Take life on life's terms. Your purpose may push you in a direction not on your map. Let it. Be so flexible that no storm can uproot you. In the end, you will still be rooted in the world in abundance, and you will indeed experience the beauty that is yours. We love you so much. Yeah, this is definitely about flexibility. And in a way, the High Priestess is, because I feel like the High Priestess and the Magician really aren't fixed states, right? They're not fixed states. They can certainly welcome in, but they're not fixed in time and space because they are magnetic cards, they are wisdom cards, they are cards of going within. And when you're within, time and space don't apply in the same ways necessarily. It's operating on a different frequency because it doesn't exist the same internally. So it's like going to that space where it's slightly different to really see yourself outside of the pressures that, you know, might make you blip in and out of this magician state, because that's really like, I really feel like that's what this Ace of Cups represents, right? In order to awaken the world to the light, I must not be afraid to shine. And there's the heart, there's the shining of the sun. There's shining in, you know, your Leo in the Strength card, and in the Star card too. But I think that it's like shining from this Ace of Cups place is a whole different kind of wisdom. It's a whole different kind of wisdom, and it brings in a whole different kind of energy too. So it's being mindful of that. But that is your daily creative reading for today, my darlings. That is for August 18th. If this resonated, please give it a like and subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel if you are not already. There are other ways you can connect, so do so if you feel so inclined. But if this is where we part, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.